Ever wonder how those high-frequency traders do it? I mean,
Making split-second decisions to snag profits before most of us even blink.
today we're diving into the world of scalping, where volume isn't just a number.
It's a secret language, whispering market moves before they happen.
It's like having a sixth sense, really, and
What's fascinating is that the source material we're diving into
claims anyone can learn to read the signals. It's all about understanding how to use volume data.
to understand market sentiment and maybe even uncover.
Some sneaky price manipulation along the way.
Okay, so no crystal ball needed, just...
Some good old-fashioned data crunching. Sign me up.
But first, let's set the stage for our listeners who might be new to the game.
We're talking about scalping multiple lightning-fast trades in a single trading session, right?
Exactly. Think of it like surfing.
You're catching those tiny price waves, riding them for a quick profit.
And then paddling back out for the next one. The key difference from day trading is...
Scalpers aren't trying to ride big price swings. They're all about those small, consistent wins.
which can actually make it less stressful. You're in and out of trades before the market even knows what hit it.
Sounds intense but exhilarating, and this source material claims to have...
Some secret formulas to help us read those waves better.
That's right. They use this term market making.
But not in the traditional sense. We're not talking about providing liquidity or...
Just setting the bid-ask spread. It's more about analyzing how volume...
specifically buy and sell orders impacts price movements.
So instead of literally making the market...
We're learning to read its mind.
Exactly.
It's like being a detective at a crime scene.
Every buy and sell order is a clue, and by analyzing the patterns...
We can start to understand the motives behind the price action.
Ari, detective work it is.
Now, what are these top secret formulas that'll turn us into market whisperers?
They center around two key metrics.
Cumulative delta volume, or CDV, and cumulative delta uptick downtick volume, or CDUDTV.
CDD what now?
Okay, those are definitely mouthfuls. Let's break them down one by one. What's the deal with CDV?
Think of CDV as a tug of war between buyers and sellers.
It's simply the net difference between buy and sell orders over a specific period.
Positive CDV, bulls are pushing the rope.
More buyers are flexing their muscles, and that usually translates to upward price pressure.
Negative CDV, bears are winning the tug of war.
Indicating selling pressure and potential downward price movement.
Makes sense. So if I see a stock price going up but the CDV is negative...
That's a red flag.
Right.
Could be a sign of, say, artificial pumping.
Exactly.
That's like someone trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
They can keep pushing it down, but eventually the natural buoyancy will win out.
CDV helps you spot those situations where the price action might not match.
The underlying buying or selling pressure.
So CDV is like a lie detector.
For price movements. I like it. But what about that other mouthful...
The CDDTV.
CDUTV takes things a step further by...
Looking at the volume behind each uptick and downtick in price.
It's not just about how many buy or sell orders there are.
But how much actual trading activity is happening on the way up versus the way down?
Okay, so let's say we have more...
Uptick volume than downtick volume. Does that automatically mean bullish sentiment?
It definitely suggests buyers are more...
Aggressively pushing the price up? They're not just nibbling?
They're gobbling up those shares. High CDUDTV relative to CDV.
That's a sign the moves are backed by real trading activity.
So it's like the difference between a gentle wave and a tsunami.
High CDUDTV means we're dealing with a market tsunami.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting.
The source material introduces what they call the market making equation,
which combines CDV and CDUTV to potentially expose situations
where the price action doesn't quite line up with the volume data.
It's like those optical illusions where your brain gets tricked.
Intriguing.
What's the secret formula then? I'm ready to do some sleuthing.
It's simpler than you might think.
You just subtract CDV from CDUDTV.
If the result is positive, it indicates what they call a bullish market making tendency.
Wait a minute. So even if the CDV itself is positive...
meaning more buyers, this market-making equation could still raise a red flag.
Precisely.
It might mean that while there are technically more buyers, the price increases.
Are happening more aggressively than the CDV alone would suggest?
Okay, so we need to be on the lookout.
For situations where the price is running ahead of the actual buying pressure.
Exactly.
It's like a house of cards.
The price might look impressive, but if the volume isn't there to support it,
it could all come crashing down.
That's a risk any scalper wants to avoid.
But how does all this actually play out in the heat of the moment, I imagine?
Things move pretty fast when you're making split-second trading decisions.
You're right. Speed is essential in scalping.
That's where real-time charting tools and level 2 data come in handy.
Let's say you're watching a stock and the price is steadily climbing.
You're feeling good, ready to jump on board. But before you do, you glance at your CDV.
And CDU-DTV indicators. The CDV is positive, but just barely.
And the CDU-TTV, it's practically flatlining.
Uh-oh.
That doesn't sound good. What's our scalper brain telling us?
It's whispering a warning.
That flatlining CDU-DTV suggests the upward price movement might be misleading.
It could be driven by a few large orders or even, dare I say it, a bit of market manipulation.
To lure in unsuspecting traders.
So instead of blindly following the price,
Our savvy scalper hits the brakes and waits for confirmation from those volume indicators.
exactly.
They might even start looking for a potential reversal, especially if they see a surge in selling volume.
Without a corresponding drop in price, that's when those scalping profits really start rolling in.
This is all starting to make sense.
But I have to imagine even the best formulas can't predict everything.
There's still a human element to this, right?
Absolutely.
Our source makes it clear that while these formulas are powerful tools, they're not foolproof.
You still need market experience and good old-fashioned intuition.
In fact, the source quotes a trader, Kay Krakus, who relies heavily on pattern recognition.
Based on years of experience, he's developed a feel for the market that goes beyond any formula.
So it's about combining those quantitative signals.
With your own qualitative judgment. It's like being a
You
musician.
need to understand the notes and scales, but the real magic happens when you bring your own style.
And interpretation to the music.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, so
It's like learning a martial art. You start with the basic moves,
to master the techniques.
but ultimately, it's your intuition and experience that make you a true fighter.
Precisely. And speaking of mastering techniques,
Our source mentions one last tool that's surprisingly insightful.
they call it the total volume equation.
Okay.
Lay it on me. What's the equation that unlocks market mastery?
It's deceptively simple,
Total volume equals buy market orders plus sell market orders.
which also equals uptick volume plus downtick volume.
Oh, hold on.
He's saying we can calculate total volume in two different ways.
Seems obvious, doesn't it?
It does.
So this equation is actually a brilliant cross-checking mechanism.
It lets you compare the buy-sell data with the uptick-downtick data.
And look for inconsistencies.
Okay.
I see where you're going with this. So if I'm seeing a ton of buy orders coming in,
But the uptick volume is suspiciously low.
that could be a sign of something fishy.
Exactly.
It's like someone pumping up their resume.
They might talk a big game, but when you check their references, things don't add up.
This equation helps you spot those discrepancies and avoid getting fooled by superficial price movements.
It's like having X-ray vision into the market's soul,
We've covered a lot of ground today, from deciphering the language of scalping
to uncovering hidden market mechanics with CDV, CDU-DTV, and the total volume equation.
My brain is definitely full, in a good way.
And remember,
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
the source material lays out a solid foundation, but the real learning begins when you start.
Applying these concepts in the real world, experiment with real-time charting tools.
See how these metrics behave in different market conditions. Do they help you spot those hair?
Subtle shifts in sentiment. Can you anticipate those price reversals before they happen?
Become a market sleuth.
Like we talked about. And who knows?
Maybe you'll even uncover those moments when someone's trying to play games with the market.
Exactly.
Question everything. Test your assumptions.
And remember, knowledge is power, especially in the fast-paced world of trading.
This deep dive has been an absolute whirlwind. Huge thanks to our expert for guiding us through.
The intricacies of scalping and volume analysis. And for our listener,
We hope this episode has sparked your curiosity and given you some new tools to explore. Remember,
the market is a complex and constantly evolving beast.
but with the right knowledge and a healthy dose of skepticism.
You can navigate its twists and turns with confidence. Until next time.
Happy trading.